Now to me, a 6'1" marshmallow man sounds more delicious than it being an insult. Thank you for joining us. Hello, welcome back everyone to the video series dedicated show on MTV that is a huge fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's right, we're talking about The Challenge Season 35, Total Madness, Episode 9. And in this episode, we learn that Zach won't pick up Jenna's phone calls. Dee is having second thoughts about Jenny, and this bartender right here did not get paid enough tips that night. But let's start off where last episode left off, and that was everybody coming back from the double elimination where Nelson beat Bear, Fessy beat Jordan, and they're having a good old time in the kitchen to where Corey is itching to go into the elimination and get his own Red Skull and join his comrades to get into the finals for this season. And then Kailah does the Abe Simpson and walks in and walks completely out to go find somebody that she actually wants to sit in a room with, where she finds Nany and Josh. That's when Josh tells Kailah and Nany what Swaggy C told him at Purgatory, that, hey, this wasn't a blindside. Wes said all day that if it was a physical elimination, he was gonna throw in Bear. But Josh was like, no, that's not the case. He kept that from everybody else but y'all. You guys are working with each other. And Josh deems him being a fake person and is worried because he says that Wes is coming after him. And now that he has Swaggy, who he thought he could trust, now Swaggy's with Wes and they're gonna come after Josh. He is half right saying that Wes and Swaggy are working together, but they're not coming after you, bro. They just aren't. Then we go into a whole bunch of montages of confessionals between Kaycee, Aneesa, and Jenny. So you know that they are either going to be in the tribunal, in the elimination, or start some drama in this house. Then we move over to Dee and Rogan, where they're talking, and Dee says that, hey, remember when I kind of handed Jenny her Red Skull on a silver platter in week 2? Well, now I'm kind of thinking that was a bad idea possibly, because if I go into a finals with her, I don't know if I could beat her, and now I need to trip her up before she makes it into the final. And Rogan's like, well, you maybe shouldn't have told me because I'm gonna snitch on you later on in this episode, but that's all gonna be happening later on. Now let's go into this week's daily challenge. But once at the daily challenge, before TJ could explain any of the rules, that's when he goes up and he says, hey, Big T, you suffered an injury, and sad to say, but you cannot run the rest of this game fully with an injured foot, so you have been medically DQ'd. So Big T is being sent home. I kind of felt that that was going to happen just for the sole fact that she has stitches and this was a water daily challenge, and just being injured would be a bigger target, especially if she was able to stay in the house, but because she can't fully run the rest of the season, she is being sent home. But TJ says that we will probably for sure see her later on in the future on future challenges, so we have that to look forward to. Now there are 20 people left in this game, and we are going to be playing a daily challenge called Tunnel Rats, where everybody's going to be dropping into this very cold water in these like sewer tunnels, and there's 5 puzzle pieces that they're going to have to swim, unhook, grab, and then get out of the water, run to a puzzle board, and put the puzzle together. The first team to finish this puzzle the quickest wins into the Tribunal, formerly known as the Pentabunal, and they get to have all the power this week. Specifically, this week is important because it is a double women's elimination. We just came off of a double men's elimination last week. Now we're having a double women's elimination, and there's only 10 girls left. So we have to see what's going to happen. Everybody's put into teams of 5, so there's 4 teams of 5. 2 teams are going to be going head to head each round. There's going to be 2 rounds. And just throwing all this stuff about this daily challenge, I thought this was fine. It's pretty straightforward. You're just going into very cold water. Of course, it's very cold water again, but luckily nobody was in it long enough to get hypothermia, but it was still very, very cold to where people panicked in this water. We had Dee panicking. We had Swaggy having to be medically saved because once he got into the water, it just like the panic mode just struck him so hard, and he was just like kind of flailing around, but he was able to be saved. The problem with that is that he left his puzzle piece out there and people were gonna have to pick up his puzzle piece for him. They all got to the ladder, and then Josh was like, oh, do I need to go back and pick up the piece? Somebody needs to know to go pick up that piece because now you're at a huge deficit once in this game. Why don't you just pick up all the puzzle pieces once you're swimming up this way? If you're passing one, why not just get it? Team 3, I felt as though was very heavy-handed. I knew they were gonna work well together with Corey, with Wes, with Dee. Bayleigh is a very good player in this game, and Nany works well with Wes. So Wes would have a really tight hold as he is good with swimming, good under pressure, and he's good at puzzles. To where it was only between Team 3 and Team 2. And when it came down to it, Team 3 won into the tribunal easily, holds all the power, and they go back to the house to get ready for the nomination ceremony. And we didn't even need to get to a vote in the nomination. Kaycee and Aneesa both said, hey, it's our time. I want to go in. Why wait any longer? It's not gonna benefit us to wait any longer, and we're probably gonna get pulled into interrogation anyway. I'll go in. So Kaycee nominates herself first, everybody says aye, good job, and that's when Aneesa votes herself in as the second nominee, and everybody says that's cool. Everyone says that's cool except for Josh. Now, at the daily challenge, once Josh's team lost, he got super frustrated, and Mattie had to be like, yo, take a chill pill, this is a girl's elimination, you don't need to get this frustrated about it. Once at the nomination and they already nominated themselves, Josh was like, hey, just because you're friends or have friends on the tribunal doesn't mean they're gonna give you exactly what you want, that they're gonna just hand over this Red Skull on a silver platter. And they were like, cool to know, bro, like, we already nominated, we can't go back. So what you're saying is cool, but we get it. Josh has just been super frustrated this whole episode, and it leads to a very erupting peak once we get to the bar. But before we get to the bar scene, Rogan tells Jenny about everything that happened with their conversation with Dee and Rogan about wanting to throw Jenny in to get her out, and Jenny is frustrated. Once at the bar scene, she's like, yo, she's not even looking at me in my eyes, and I don't think I can trust her. If I go up to her and say, hey, did you say that you wanted to throw me in, and she can't look me in my eyes or shake my hand, then we're done. We're done with this friendship. And another friendship that was done was Josh and Swaggy C. Josh says that, hey, we have the big brother kind of like bond, and I came into this game thinking that we were cool, but now I know that he's with Wes. And then it erupted when Swaggy came over and sat by Josh. Josh and Bananas was talking about how people are being fake in the house, and then Swaggy said, yo, if you're gonna call out people for being fake, then you're a hypocrite. Josh doesn't like that whatsoever. He just erupts, and Swaggy C decides he's going to get up and walk away from Josh, and they're both yelling at each other. But Swaggy C decides he's going to walk away before this escalates any further. Josh says, hey, wait a minute, you want this drink? And then throws the drink at Swaggy, and that's when things just go bananas, and production has to jump in, hold both guys back. They're yelling at each other. Josh getting up on the bar, and that's when the bartender was like, hey, buddy, hey, no, that's for drinks. Now we have to sanitize that whole bar scene, right? Like, get down right now. Then Semisonic comes on, and it is the perfect soundtrack to the end of this bar scene. I have to say, producers, music people at MTV, that was beautiful. I love that. That was amazing to have closing time as they finished up the bar and then went back to the challenge house, and it was just amazing. Once back at the house, that's when the tribunal ceremony happens, and they're sitting there talking about who they want to bring in to interrogate. And Corey's like, well, Mattie said that she doesn't want to come in, and she did me a huge solid last week, so let's not bring in Mattie. Everybody agrees, so that only leaves 4 people left to bring in to interrogate. And that is Kailah, Jenna, Jenny, and Melissa. Kailah said that she wants to go in regardless, and instead of going against Aneesa, who she's beaten in past challenges and eliminations, she wants to go up against Kaycee because she's friends with her, and hey, why not go up against somebody who she deems is strong, and if she leaves, then hey, she can hang out with Bear outside of the house. So people were like, okay. Melissa comes in and says she doesn't want to go into the elimination at all, and says that she will be on Corey's side. If he wants to go in, she'll use whatever power she has to throw him in before the rest of her alliance members, and the same thing with Wes. Jenna comes in, and Jenna has a very weird situation happening yet again. We don't get to see Zach in this episode, but that whole situation with Zach is still on her brain, and whenever there's like a moment of silence in the game, she can only think about what's happening back at home and whether she should stay or not. Nany is getting pissed about having to hear it all the time. Come on, if you're gonna sit there and be like, oh, I have a ticket to the final, but I don't know if I wanna be here for it, or I'm still complaining about what's happening back at home, you're gonna probably be thrown in yet again. And then Jenny comes in and she's talking a lot to where people are like, maybe you shouldn't, we're good, we're done, we're good. We go straight to purgatory where Aneesa and Kaycee join TJ down there, and TJ looks up and asks whether Dee, Bayleigh, or Nany wants to come down and face either Kaycee or Aneesa to go in and get their Red Skull, and they're like, no, that's okay, peace out, let's vote. And that's when they decide to vote, and they go 4-1 to vote in Kailah to face Kaycee because, hey, that's exactly who she wanted to go for. Nany was the only one that didn't vote for Kailah because, hey, Nany's looking out for her friends and she wants to throw in Jenny as much as possible to get her out before the final. But everybody else voted in Kailah, so Kailah's going to be facing Kaycee. The next vote was for Aneesa, who's going to be facing her. It was another 4-1 vote where everybody voted Jenna except for Nany, who wanted to vote in Jenny. So Jenna's going to be going back into this elimination, and it's mainly because people think that her head is still not in this game. So this elimination that they're going to play tonight is called Bombs Away, and what it's going to be, it's going to be their small personal dumpsters that these people are going to be playing in, and there's a whole bunch of medicine balls dyed black to look like quote-unquote bombs, and what they have to do is have to throw out all 100 of these out of these personal dumpsters, and the first person to get all 100 medicine balls out of their tiny dumpsters and set off a smoke bomb wins and gets their Red Skull, stays in this game, gets a possible chance of running TJ's final and getting $1 million, while the other 2 players will be sent packing, sent home, or going to be sent to Bear's hotel room. The first round is Kailah versus Kaycee, and let me tell you right now, this was not close at all. Maybe at the beginning where they were going at the same speed, same rate, Kailah and Kaycee were doing really, really well, keeping pace with one another, and then all of a sudden Kaycee was just pulling away. I mean, by the time Kaycee gets all of her medicine balls out of this dumpster and runs and pulls that smoke bomb, Kailah still has a ton of medicine balls left in her dumpster. So it's needless to say, Kaycee won pretty easily against Kailah, and then it goes into Jenna versus Aneesa. Kaycee and Kailah both were like, those things are heavy. So a lot of people are leaning that, hey, Aneesa could win this easily. But let me tell you right now, Jenna is, again, not to be underrated or underestimated, as she is going at the same rate as Aneesa, and they are just going at this, throwing these balls out at the same exact speed, same exact rate, same exact pace, and they are really, really neck and neck throughout this whole elimination up until the very end, where I feel as though Jenna was really kind of slowing down. I think she left a lot more of the bigger medicine balls than Aneesa did towards the end, so by the time she got to them, she was already exhausted from how many medicine balls she threw out, to where by the time she got to the big ones, the heavier ones, that it was just way too heavy and she was just slowing down. That's when Aneesa was able to pull away, throw out the last few medicine balls, run over to her smoke bomb, pull that lever, get her Red Skull, and both Jenna and Kailah are sent out of this game. And that is it for this episode. But what do you think about this episode? Let me know that in the comment section below. What do you think about the daily challenge? What do you think about the elimination? What do you think about Swaggy and Josh getting into a massive fight at the bar? What do you think about Jenna being thrown in? Do you think Kailah should have won against Kaycee, or why not go against Aneesa, who you beat in a previous challenge elimination? I mean, it doesn't hold water. Years later, challenges later, different challenge, different elimination, but to know that you won against them already could put you at a better mental state. I don't know. But what do you think about this episode? Let me know that in the comment section below. Also, what did you think about Dee wanting to go back on Jenny and back on everything and their friendship to get her out, even though she handed Jenny her Red Skull on a silver platter? What do you think about all that? Let me know that in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really, really soon with more challenge content, more brief histories, more top 10s, more Rushmores, a lot of stuff. Also, join me on next Thursday for another challenge, Total Madness review and recap. And join me on Fridays for Tiny Table Talk for the challenge, Season 35, Total Madness. But until then, peace.